Hi guys, it's Brittany Lake. How's it going? Last night we had a great chat on common symptoms that you might experience when starting intuitive weight loss. And one of those common symptoms was food addiction withdrawals. So tonight I wanted to kind of clarify what some signs are that you might have a food addiction that you're dealing with. Because for me, I didn't know I was dealing with a food addiction before. I thought my portion sizes were normal because I was looking at everybody else's food around me, but I also wasn't taking into account all the little grazing I was doing throughout the day and the fact that I have a slower metabolism. So I was actually eating twice as much as my body needed simply because I was looking at everybody else's food and other portion sizes and judging those portion sizes as normal when I should have been listening to my body, and my body would have told me that's too much food and that's why you're twice as big as you need to be. So I had a food addiction that I discovered last year at the same time in January. I had discovered these new rules about waiting for our body's natural hunger and fullness cues in order to get back down to our body's natural weight. And I was so excited about that and so committed because I felt like I was truly divinely guided to learn these principles. And if you're watching me and you're new, please put a 1 in the comments so I know to personally welcome you to the group and also tell you where you can get the hunger and fullness scale to know more about what I am talking about. So yes, I have my own food addiction that I've had to work through. And I relied on God to help me through that every single day. And I also used energy healing to help address the underlying causes behind my food addiction. So you probably know this, but weight is very emotional. We didn't just wake up and we gain this weight overnight. Usually there were a lot of emotional reasons why we got to this point. And all of that trapped emotional baggage might still be a part of us if we haven't fully processed it and dealt with it, which is why energy healing has been such an important part of my weight loss journey, which is why I've developed my 10-week program that incorporates energy healing and the intuitive weight loss eating principles and the coaching that goes along with it all together for you. So here are some signs in case you're wondering if you have a problem with this. I continue to add to this list as I remember what it was like for my former self to go through day-to-day things. So this list is kind of long. I've got like 23 things already. I'm looking at my computer here. Let me scroll back to the top. Okay. Cravings despite being full already. Frequently eating much more than you intended to when you give in to a food craving. Eat until feeling excessively stuffed. There were multiple times a month where I would be painfully stuffed and I have to go lie down. And you make your food choices off of what will give you the most quantity to prolong the pleasure of eating over the quality of food. If you guys relate to any of these, I want you to give me a like so that way I know I'm not the only one that's ever felt this way before, because food addiction is a real thing. And there's so many times in our life where we turn to food to solve our problems and to self-medicate instead of doing something else, wholesome activity that actually fills our heart. So here's another one. Experience insane blood sugar symptoms at the thought of having to postpone a meal or at the thought of waiting another hour or two until your stomach's actually hungry. So blood sugar just up and down. Yep, someone's already commenting or liking. Feeling like you have to hide or the amount of food you would like to consume. So you kind of sneak around it. Feeling anxious when someone wants to share food off of your plate or split a meal. That's a really big one. I'm like, I swap hands away from my plate all the time from my spouse. Being preoccupied with and feeling deprived if someone chooses the bigger half if you are splitting something. That one took a long time. Like, you know, I would try to let my spouse pick the bigger half of a sandwich or something, but I would still it would still eat away at me in the back of my head that I got the smaller piece. Like, it was just this preoccupation with more food. It was this greediness that would overcome me, you know? Anybody else feel that way? It's a real thing, you guys. This greediness and love for food. Let me see, where did I leave off? Yes, feeling anxiety and preoccupation with food at social events and family gatherings. Like you're there to go see a baby blessing or a family gathering, but all you can think about is the food that's there and if you're going to have some or not. And if you are, how much are you going to have of it? And when are you going to get full? Like it's just this constant thinking about the food at this party. I see lots of likes. Oh, here's a great one. Spending too much time scrolling through Pinterest food ideas for dinner or dessert ideas. That's a big one. Making a note of restaurants you need to go to. Also choosing your restaurant where you know they serve the largest portion sizes. That's a big one. Feeling like every ounce of food in your house must be consumed before it goes bad. Just kind of like heightened anxiety when you feel like the food's going to go bad soon, so you have to eat it all right now. It's like you can't let the food go to waste. It must be consumed kind of attitude. Binge every time you set restrictive rules around your food or your diet. Get headaches when you consciously wait for a true hunger signal. Headaches are a sign of food withdrawal symptoms. Unable or unwilling to manage your portion sizes despite physical health problems like weight gain and acne. Shay, like I'm going on to NYC in April and my Pinterest board is only food places. Totally. Hey, that's legit though, because you're traveling, so I get it. Let's see what else. Going out of your way to obtain certain foods, like you just can't get it out of your mind. You have to go there and you have to go there now. And like I remember when I had postpartum depression with my baby, I went out of my way in a blizzard to go get a J-Dog. Like I risked my baby and my life going out into this blizzard. I'm not good at driving in the snow, but I had to go get one of those hot dogs for some reason. And I had to have it now. And I wasn't even hungry, but it was this addiction that took over me. I was feeling so low and I just wanted something, anything to make me feel better. And that's what I did. I went out in the middle of a blizzard to go get myself a J-Dog. And it was something about that secret sauce. I don't know what they put in it. But I was a food addict, for sure. Irritability or angry for no reason, especially if you're waiting for food. Eating past politely full in an attempt to reach a food coma or food high. Food is really a drug at that point where you're just trying to find that hit. Feeling physically ill or have to lie down after a meal because you ate so much. Even if you're doing this a couple times a month, that's definitely a food addiction. There is no reason to eat past politely full. Being super irritable and food is the only thing that makes you feel calmer. That's a self-medicated food addiction right there. If you relate to any of these, make sure you're liking and commenting because I want to see if I'm not the only one that's ever experienced this. You can't possibly have fun at an evening activity without food being the center. Like you can't even imagine planning a party and there's not some sort of food there. And the whole activity is centered around what you're eating. Being preoccupied with food even when you're not hungry. You aren't even tasting your food, but you're thinking about the next bite of food while you're still chewing. Have you guys ever done that? Ugh, it's so annoying. It's like you're not even tasting the food. You're just shoving it in. And as you're shoving it in, you might be like right here even before it actually gets in your mouth. And you're still thinking about the next bite. What is that about, you guys? That's insane. But we're continuing to eat. It's like, what are we doing right now? You know, what's happening? Obviously, I'm not feeding myself because I'm hungry. Obviously, it's not good because I'm just swallowing and getting ready for the next bite. So what are we doing? This is what we have to get down to. This is what we really have to self-reflect about. Okay, and another one, you can't get satisfied off of any amount of food. That's a big one. If you're searching through your house, you're like, I just ate, but I need something salty now. Okay, well now I need something sweet. Well now I need something salty again or with protein because now I'm experiencing this sugar crash. So you keep trying to find just one more thing that's going to hit it, but nothing does. So you just keep eating. Never feeling full, Barbara, yes. The last one that I've got on this list, though there are so many, this one I had to add today because I was doing it. Watching and waiting to see if your spouse is going to eat the rest of his pizza crust, even if you're already full. Have any of you guys ever been there? Give me a like. I want to hear about it. Because that's where I was today. And I want to tell you about my emotional temptations today to eat. These things will creep back up on you. I'm nowhere near what I was last year, where it was a day-to-day fight, struggle to work through this food addiction. Energy healing, God really helped me break through that. But every now and then I find that I get emotionally triggered to overeat. And today was one of those days. And I found, because I figured out what one of my triggers is. And that's when I'm fighting with my spouse, right? You guys have probably all been there. If you have, give me a thumbs up if you have. But so today, my husband, he's kind of a crazy driver, and it was traffic hour, and we decided to go to IKEA, which is supposed to be a happy, fun occasion. And he was weaving in and out of traffic trying to decide which lane he wanted, and we have a slow blinker, and sometimes he just doesn't even use it. And someone lays on their horn behind us, and my husband decides to roll down his window and give the guy behind us the bird. And I was so mad because we've talked about this so many times, and I think it's really immature, and it makes me so angry when he does it. And so I let him have it in the car for doing that. And so we were arguing, and then this whole thing that was supposed to be quality time, going to IKEA as a family, was totally ruined. It was out the window. And so when we get to IKEA, luckily I was hungry, so it was good that we were about to eat. We get some pizza as we go about shopping. But all of a sudden, I was getting to the end of my pizza, my slice, and I knew I was full, but I was so preoccupied with my husband's last piece of his crust. I just wanted it so bad. But it wasn't because I was hungry. It wasn't because I still needed more food. It was because I had triggered something emotional inside of me. And it's that disconnect. When I feel disconnected from myself, disconnected from my spouse or someone that I care about, or when I feel disconnected from God, that creates a trigger in me where I need food to feel better. I need food to comfort me, to deal with that separation. And in that moment in IKEA, I just wanted that piece of crust. That's what I wanted. And it was frustrating because we were still kind of angry and fighting. So that was a trigger. So maybe me explaining my story here today, you can kind of see and start to correlate where your triggers are, because that's half the battle. It's understanding why you're triggered to overeat. Because once you understand it, you can bring those deep subconscious habits to the forefront of your conscious mind and then start working through them. That's really important. So the only reason anyone would ever overeat is because their heart is somehow empty and they're trying to fill the void with food. Like with my example today, my heart all of a sudden was empty, and I wanted this quality time to, as a family, to fill my heart, and now I was being denied that because now we were angry with each other. And it was that disconnect and that void that my soul really wanted today. And I, through my own emotions and choices, decided to ruin that moment, and that's why I was turning to food. Luckily, as an energy healer, and I have lots of techniques that I can do to help overcome that. So I did some tapping. I did a tapping session on myself. In my 10-week program, I just released a new tapping tape called Tapping Temptation Triggers, where I walk you through how to go through acupressure points on your body and tap while focusing on clearing out this emotional eating episode. So it was really helpful, and I got down to a 0 with that temptation. But guess what? I left the room that I just finished my tapping session, and I went back out to where my husband was, and we hadn't really fully made amends yet, and I wanted to start eating again. So I was triggered again. So even when we do the emotional work behind it, we still have to resolve our current situations. So even if you don't have access to energy healing or things like that, do what you can to resolve the situations here and now. So in order for me to fully overcome that temptation to overeat, I knew it had to happen. I had to go and make amends with my spouse and humble myself and do the hugs and fully take responsibility for my part, and he took responsibility for his part. And then that feeling, that anxiety around wanting more food went away. So I hope that story kind of helps you understand maybe your own triggers. If that was helpful, give me a heart. And so that way I know that this is seeing my story is kind of helping you understand how to approach this on your own day-to-day symptoms, because that's really what I'm here to do. And another thing is, I want you to journal tonight what role extra food is playing in your life. We talked about this in the group a lot today, but when you're in that moment and you've got this greediness in your heart that's starting to take over, and you know you're approaching polite fullness, but you still want more for some reason, stop and ask yourself, what's happening here? What's going on? Push the plate away for a second, dump water over it. That's my favorite, because I just destroy it, get it out of the way. And I ask myself, what is it that I want food to be or do for me right now? Like today in IKEA, when I wanted my husband's pizza crust, I wanted that food to make me feel full emotionally. Because I wanted that moment with my family at IKEA to be special and to fill my heart. That was a really wholesome, fun activity that I was looking forward to doing. And instead, I was trying to make food fill that void. What I should have done was, in that moment, humbled myself and redirected the situation and made amends right then and there. But I was too prideful. You know how that is. So that took some time before I got around to doing that. But the sooner we can redirect ourselves, figure out what the trigger is, ask ourselves what role are we trying to make this extra food be for us, that's when we can make real lasting change. And that trigger to overeat will get less and less and less, and you become more and more powerful. So this intuitive weight loss journey is not about willpower in regards to forcing yourself to do this or that. It's about healing from the inside out, because once you heal here, there is no need to overeat. There really isn't. You don't need to overeat at all when your heart is full. So journal that today. What role is extra food? What role am I trying to give that in my life? What do I want food to be or do for me? And in what ways can I begin to start filling my heart without food? Because once you figure that out, you're on your way towards putting food addiction way behind you. Because you are not broken. You know how to do this. Your body and your spirit want to do this, but it takes some conscious effort here. And it takes conscious effort to figure out what's going on in the subconscious. If you need extra help, I have a hypnosis track to help you with this at BrittanyLake.com, specifically designed for this program. If you're doing this on your own, I highly recommend that. If you want to work with me one-on-one, my 10-week program starts on February 19th. I'm starting to accept enrollments now for that. There are limited spaces. This is where I walk you through and coach you through the eating principles of this, helping you figure out exactly where polite fullness is and where true hunger is, so that way you know what is necessary to lose weight. And at the same time, week to week, I'm doing energy healing sessions on you to break through the emotional underlying causes behind these issues with food, behind weight as well. And you'll be given this great tapping audio that I've created where you can download that to your phone and press play and begin tapping through EFT tapping points when you're triggered. So that way you have some powerful tools with you to begin breaking through this once and for all. So if you would like more information on that, be sure to comment or message me and I'll get you more information on that. In the meantime, you guys, do your journaling and start making a conscious effort to figure out where those triggers are so you begin working through them. You guys have a great night, and tomorrow is Friday. I'll be doing some live free energy clearings in the group, so that'll be so fun. I hope you guys join me then tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time live in the group. You guys have a great night. Bye.